WINCHESTER family, and welcome to my channel. Before we get into today's video, which is how to care for orchids indoors. If you are a new viewer here and you like the content that I create, please hit that red button down below that says subscribe, and don't forget to turn on that bell so you never miss a video. So I'm going to tell you how I care for my orchids. They are Phalaenopsis orchids. I have them in water culture, as you can see, and if you've seen my past videos, I have them in water culture. So if your orchids are in water culture or they're in organic media, this is a good video for you to watch, because I have done both. Actually, I've had some that were in organic media and these which are in water culture. So when you have organic media, you want to make sure that you at least every couple of days, you have to actually look at the roots to tell when the orchid needs to be watered again. So when your roots go a silver color, that usually tells you that it's time to water your orchids again if you're in bark or any kind of organic media. But if you have your orchids in water culture like I do, you don't have to worry about that actually, because you have them submerged in water mostly. They say I have mine about 10% of the roots are in water, the rest are in air. Like this one, I have 3 roots right here that are not in water at all. It's just the bottom, and that's it. So what I love about water culture for orchids is that they get the water they need, and you don't have to worry about them not having enough water. You don't have to worry about watering them every so often. That's what I love about it. Another thing I love about it is if you have it in water culture and you see there's something wrong with your orchid, you can take it out and fix it immediately. If you have your orchid in organic media, you have to wait about 2 years to actually find out how the orchid is doing. So for me, water culture is the best because it's just water. You give the roots, about 10% of the roots are in water. It's about 1/4, 1/8 of the roots in water. And that's it. I use distilled water. With water culture, you can use distilled water, or you can test the hardness of your water, which I don't do. Or you can just use simply rainwater. Rainwater is the best, actually. Right now, I get distilled water until I'm able to get a water collector to collect the rainwater, because in Florida, in the summer, it rains a lot. So yeah, so I have 2 that are growing, and then I have this guy in bloom, which I think it might grow me another bud. So for my orchids, I use very simple fertilizer. So this is the fertilizer I use. I will have affiliate links in the description below to where I got these off Amazon. So this is for if your orchid's just growing the normal leaves and roots like that. You want to use the 20-20-20 right there. That's for growing. And this one is the bloom booster that I use for my one that is in bloom. So for your orchids, to tell them which fertilizer they need, if your orchids are just like this guy, just growing leaves, just growing roots, then you just give them the 20-20-20 fertilizer. But if you see a flower spike or they're in bloom, like this guy, which is so beautiful, by the way, then you use the bloom booster. So that's how you tell when to use which fertilizer. With Phalaenopsis orchids, they are the easiest to care for. They're the easiest to find. They're in every grocery store, every nursery that I'm aware of in the United States anyway. So yeah, I love it so much. So now I'm going to get into my regular videos, which is my plant updates, where I take you through everybody. I tell you what's going on, what happened in the past week, all that fun stuff. And for me, for the fertilizer, just go by what the directions say on the packaging. It says about every 2 weeks. It gives you a certain amount that you should use per gallon. I don't use a gallon of water for mine. So for me, I just use a 1/8 tablespoon here for all of it. Because I have fertilizer for the rest of my plants, including my orchids. So I just use 1/8 tablespoon. That works. What I did this week is I took them out of these little vases that I have them in. I put them in little containers, and I had them in fertilizer, and they're individual fertilizer. These first two, which are just growing, they're not in bloom, I put them together in a container with the right fertilizer for about an hour. Because last week, I think I made a mistake. 2 weeks ago, I made a mistake. 2 weeks ago. Because it's every 2 weeks you gotta grow. So now, I'm going to get right into my plant update video, since I have already told you how to care for orchids indoors. For me, I have a humidifier. It's a cool mist humidifier, which I found is the best. I have that going 24/7. It's never off. That way they're getting lots of air. It's very circulated air. I have a fan that you can't see. It's right up there. That stays on all the time, so it gets circulated air. That's right, it's not still air, because that is very bad for orchids. You don't want that. So if you do not have a humidifier, I would suggest you invest in a cool mist humidifier. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them practically everywhere now. But mine's just like a little fan, and it goes cold air up above, and they seem to love it. Mine are still growing nice and strong, so that's fun. Always keep the fan running to make sure you have circulated air. Make sure you always, if you have a humidifier, have it on 24/7, because that's what seems mine love the most, is the humidifier, and having the fan on, having circulated air is the best. Fertilizer, I've talked about the 2 fertilizers that I think you should get if you have any kind of orchids, not just Phalaenopsis orchids, which are the easiest to find. I use distilled water. You can you have to check your tap water before you use it. You use distilled water. Rainwater is the best if you can get it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have organic media, like I said, water your orchid every couple of days. Do not use ice. That will hurt the orchid very, very badly. So if the person you went to get your orchid from says, just use ice, don't do it. That will actually harm the orchid worse than anything else you can do to it, because that will hurt the orchid, which will make it stop growing, and we don't want that. If you're going to care for your orchid inside, you don't want that. So I just use distilled water until I'm able to get rainwater, and I just let these guys grow. So regular media every couple of days, or until you see the roots are a silver color, that it usually tells you gotta water them again. And just sit them in water, whichever water you have. If you have very light tap water, very light softness, it has to be softness water, distilled water, or rainwater. Set them in the water for about 5 minutes. Is what I've seen and what I've done. And when you put them in water, you don't want it to go too high. You want it under the crown, because if you get water inside the crown, you will get crown rot, and it could. I've lost orchids that way from crown rot. It is something that it can come back from, but you have to catch it quite early for that to happen. I've lost one to crown rot because I didn't catch it in time to save it. So there's that worry. But if you have it in water culture, semi-water culture, which is you have it, depending on your environment, mine in Florida, that it would be 2 days in water, 5 days without, and that seems to go well. Or full water culture, which is in water all the time, which mine seem to love. So if you're going to transfer your orchid from organic media to water culture, it's very simple. You don't have to worry about bud blasts. I've had no bud blasts when I would transfer them. You just put them in a certain amount of water, either full water or semi-water, for 3 months. 3 months. Remember that, 3 months. To see if they like it or not. After 3 months and they're thriving, keep going. It's great. If not, move to semi-water culture for 3 months. And if they don't like that, then move them back to organic media. So those are my recommendations for caring for an orchid inside your home. I have 3, and they're beautiful. So now I'm going to move on to my regular videos, which is my plant update. So let's get started, shall we? So first we have my aloe plant. You should see the mother plant outside. She's growing a stem. It's crazy. So this beautiful guy right here is doing quite well. Again, I fertilized this guy with Miracle-Gro's all-purpose fertilizer. I love it. It's so freaking easy. I have all my fertilizers in powder form. That's the easiest for me to do, because you just put a certain amount in water, stir it, pour it in your plant. That's simple. And the soil I use for all my plants, except my orchids, is Miracle-Gro Moisture Control Soil, because that will make sure your plant is never overwatered. It will water your plant as it needs it, which is the best if you're like me and you're scared of overwatering it. It's awesome. So this guy is doing quite well. All the leaves are looking good. We got a new leaf growing right here. I did fertilize these guys today. So now we're going to move on to my Christmas cactuses, which I have some amazing updates on those as well. So these are my Christmas cactuses. Again, I use the Miracle-Gro fertilizer, Miracle-Gro soil, and this guy right here is growing leaves. It's amazing. I love it. This guy is not growing leaves yet. This guy was very wrinkly, which means it was dying, and I just been watering it once a week, and it's now, the wrinkles are gone, which is amazing. So hopefully by next week, that one will start growing new leaves. And this guy, if you saw my video last week, you saw how scared I was for this guy. I have been watering this guy about once, twice a week, depending on my crazy schedule. And again, same fertilizer, same soil, and this guy is almost back to his original form. We still have a few wrinkles here and there, but compared to last week, much, much better. This guy is doing marvelous right now. So now we're going to move on to my 3 Christmas cactuses. So this guy wasn't wrinkly, not very bad as the other guy was. So I've just been doing the same thing to all of them. And these 2 were in the same pot, so I separated these 2 because they need to be separated. Let's just face it. And they seem to be quite well, growing quite wonderfully. And then there's this guy who I'm like really, really excited about, because this guy has been growing like crazy. It's like every day I come to check on this one, there's a new leaf every time. I love it. So I just have them here right on my little desk here, and they get light from this window, they get light from the back door, which is perfect. So now I'm going to move on to my Phalaenopsis orchids. I did fertilize them today, as you saw earlier in my video. I'm just regular fertilizer for 1 hour. Last time I fertilized, I left it in for a whole week. And I think that did some damage. Not on this one. This one's tough. This one's tough. Because there's like no seeable damage. The roots are still good. The leaves are still good. It's tough. I like them like that. I like them being tough. So that one is good. It's a tough one. This one, I'm a little worrisome about this one. Because it started showing signs that the leaves were going, which scares me just a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm hoping that over the next week, this guy will start showing signs that it's growing again. So this one, I'm a little worried about this one. I've already had a leaf fall off of this guy. So I'm hoping that since I just put it in the fertilizer for an hour this time, instead of a whole week, it will bounce back. It will produce more roots. It will produce another leaf. Then this guy, it was still in bloom. Again, I put it in the fertilizer for 1 hour. Then I took it out and put it in fresh water. It seems to be doing quite well. I did check the roots, and I do have to cut some. But I want to wait till I have some rainwater from outside to fill it up to here at least. As you can see, it's right down here. I need it up to here so I can cut the roots. That way it would still have some roots in there. Because with its flower spike, there's no way I can fit it in another container. It's not going to happen. So we're looking like we're doing well. Just worrisome about this one in the middle here. That one scares me. So you'll have to come back next week to see what happened. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys tomorrow.